There are two ways to deal with anti-Semitism. And one of them comes from our own emptiness, and that's the bad way of dealing with anti-Semitism. And the other one comes from a sense of fullness, not emptiness. Being filled with what? Being filled again with looking for Hashem. We don't have to be fully, have full faith in Hashem, but we need to look for Hashem and ask for Him and seek His face and, ask for Him to be revealed and try to remember and try to figure out what His story is, what the story of Emunah is, faith in Hashem. And then we have to fill this void by reconnecting with the Torah and learning the Torah. And it's very hard. It's very hard to, go over the boundaries and the fences and the walls that are between us and the Torah. It's very hard to go over them because it's very hard to learn Torah. It's just very hard. But we have to try, find our way, find the book that talk to us, find the teachers that talk to us, and cross this chasm, because this chasm is within us. And finally, and it's all connected, is bridging the chasm between us and the other Jew, the other group, the Jew that is unlike us, that doesn't think like us, that wants something else from us, and figuring him out. And all these three things help one another, because if we remember God, we remember we all came from God. All different Jewish souls, all different souls in the world. But it starts in your own people. You have to look at the people around you and figure out that the one that you don't like, you have to break your head and break your heart open until you can figure him out and not alienate him and not see him as just totally crazy or wicked or senseless, or that you have zero empathy for him. And working on this empathy is filling that void. And so believing in Hashem helps you, because you remember that Hashem created all of us in His image. And also learning Torah helps with understanding the other Jew, because if you really learn Torah, the Torah forces you to adopt multiple perspectives. The Torah has 70 facets which correspond to the 70 soul roots of the Jewish people. And so we have to remember that all Jews, all souls in the world are looking for redemption. They're just looking at different aspects of the same redemption. The religious Jew, he wants the past and the Torah and the tradition and the Jewish identity. The secular Jew, he wants the future. He wants the connection with other people. He wants the universality, not the particularity. He wants something practical, not just traditional. And we're all in this together, and it's all very valuable. And the solution is realizing that every group within the Jewish people is looking for something very, very valuable, very precious. And we have to put together and see together. And so one last thing to finish, to round all this up, is that I mentioned the Vitebsky Rebbe. He's the first, as I said, the first Hasidic Rebbe of the Holy Land, of the land of Israel. So as I said, now we're in the time talking about, referring to the founding of the state of Israel, to the coming back of the Jewish people to the land of Israel. Whether you actually came back, you live here, or you know that this country is waiting for you, and you know there's a Jewish state here, and you think about all of this, then in a way, we have to go back to the first narrative. The first narrative is not the superficial, secular Zionist narrative, which is just talking about, as I said before, just the Jewish nationality, just the predicament of Jews, and not the future transcendent-oriented goal or calling of Judaism. It's only talking about the predicament, and this story doesn't lead you anywhere. It just tells you that you're the protagonist of a tragedy, and the solution to this tragedy is to have a Jewish state and a Jewish army. It's not very uplifting, and it doesn't solve any of the problems, and it's going to cause you to even, that's a subject for another class, it's going to cause you to, even the way you wage the war is constant apologetic explanation of trying to please other peoples and other nations and their perspective, and you're not going to fight in a proper way, and you're going to prolong the fight, and you're going to increase the number of soldiers dying. God forbid, but it's happening. So it's a story this is a topic for another class. But the point is that the narrative that it's just a predicament, it's just a tragedy, it doesn't lead you anywhere. So we have to go back to the first Hasidic Rebbe of the land of Israel, whose yahrzeit is Aleph Iyar, very close to Hey Iyar, the 5th day of Iyar, which is the day of independence, very close. And it's also a day in which all Jews say Hallel. You know, there's an argument whether some people think you should say Hallel on the 5th of Iyar. And many people strongly disagree with this. But everyone says Hallel on the first day of Iyar, which is the Yortzeit of the Vitebsky Rebbe. So if we're focusing on that day, then maybe there's the key to this time coming back to the land of Israel and getting rid of the devil that's dancing among us.